Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another module in the syndicate. Today, we're going to be talking about the Google document close. Okay, this is a really important module, especially for those of you who are trying to make your sales process a lot more efficient. I know that once we started including the Google document close into our own sales process here at the agency, it actually removed the second call of our sales process. So before, we used to do a discovery call and then a strategy call. We actually, back in the day, used to have a discovery call, strategy call, and an onboarding call. Then we moved to a 2-call close. And now what's really nice is this Google document has basically allowed us to close clients in one call. So right on that discovery call, we're able to close these clients if we feel it's a really good fit. Okay, so let's dive right in. So the module itinerary for today is how you can visually show your clients what results they can achieve with your service, the unique way of walking through your procedure and system with these leads that you're meeting with, and then improve your closing rate significantly. Okay, 20% or higher. And again, these aren't just some made up numbers. These are numbers based off of what we are currently doing, based off of this test that we are currently running as an agency. I wouldn't say it's much of a test. We've been doing this for quite a few months now, and it's been working incredibly well. Okay, and there's a few different ways you can go about it, but this way is going to be the Google document close. Okay. So let's talk about the Word document close. So transitioning your discovery call into walking through a Word document has helped me and my team close clients in one call rather than extending the sales process to 2 calls. Okay, so here's the framework that you need to consider for your agency sales process. All right, so the doc breakdown. The top section of the page is where you're writing notes during your discovery call. Okay, so during your discovery call, you should have 2 tabs open. One should be the Google document, okay, which we're walking through right now, and one should be the script framework for your discovery call. Okay, so in the previous module, we gave you the scripts for discovery calls and strategy calls. By now, you should have had that adjusted and aligned to your messaging, your offer, your service, everything. So 2 tabs should be open during a client call, during a discovery call. The Google document close, which we're going over right now, and the discovery call script. Okay, have those 2 tabs open. All right. Now, in the top section of the page, right, is where you're going to be writing down your notes in the discovery call on the Google document close. Okay, so have this section preset up. So all you need to do is input the metrics and data that you need to understand the current situation of the business. Okay, now where the magic happens is you walking through the process your agency is going to take for that business to go from A to Z. Okay, so now that you have a clear understanding of where this business is at, you should have identified what bottlenecks they're experiencing. Okay, so in that discovery call script, you're asking a ton of questions, and those questions is unpacking data for you to take as notes so that you can put it onto your Google Doc page, which you're going to end up walking through with that prospect. Okay, it's really important that you have these notes taken on this document, and I'll show you why later. Okay, so you're going to want to basically, after you transitioned into the discovery call script, you ask them all the questions, you have all this information. Near the end of that call, you're going to transition to the Word document close. Okay, so you're going to open up the tab, you're going to share your screen with that prospect, and you're basically going to discuss what you've written down, right? You've taken all the notes and you say, hey, listen, so like during our call, took a bunch of these notes. This is currently where your business is at. And I want to just walk through a few bottlenecks that I clearly see based off the information you provided me. And I want to walk through this with you so that you can see it up close and personal. Okay. And that's how you're going to explain this to the prospect. All right. From there, you're going to discuss 1 to 2 bottlenecks that business currently has and your unique solution to that bottleneck, to each bottleneck. Okay. You must mention how your team will take care of the issue. It's important you explain to them how your direct service will actually solve this problem that's holding them back. Okay. You need to clearly, make it visual in their head that like, okay, this agency owner is the solution to my current problems. Okay. So the way to do that is to provide them the solutions and reaffirm them. Yeah. Like my agency can take care of this, right? Obviously, don't offer up a service you don't offer, but make sure that you can at least provide those solutions. Okay. Now, you need to clearly communicate how big of a problem these bottlenecks are. So example, right? If a prospect for our ad agency has really bad click-through rate, okay, that means their ads aren't performing very well. Their ads and their copy, their ad creatives, things like that, okay? So meaning they need better creatives and copy. So what we would do is we would discuss how our UGC service and our copywriter would fix all this for them and double the amount of traffic to their site, even without having to spend more on ads if we were able to take their click-through rate from like a 0.5% to a 1%, right? Which isn't even that good. A 1% is like, it's not that good. So we would clearly communicate that, okay? Now, the bottlenecks are what you're typing out with them on the Zoom call, okay? So you're making this as engaging and dynamic as possible for them so that they can visually see that their problems are up close and personal now. And then you're providing them the solutions to them during that walkthrough, okay? So it's really, really important that you know your stuff while you're doing this, because you don't want to work yourself into a corner where you're stumbling over numbers or metrics. Just keep it simple, talk towards what you know. All right. And then after diving into their bottlenecks, explain what process your agency provides in terms of its services. Okay. So example of this is if you offer paid ads, break down what the service actually entails for your team and what the prospect can expect to receive. All right. This should be pre-written out so you don't have to type it out during the call. Okay. So this document should be a setup template where there's a space for you to type things out during the call, and then there's pre-written stuff that you can actually just walk through right away. All right. After explaining the process, you want to reaffirm your offer and guarantee. Make it a no-brainer for them to realize that you're the only option that will get them from where they want, to where they want to be. Okay. Make it a no-brainer in their head so that they're like, okay, you know what? Like this agency, this person, Dominic and his team, they're the only solution right now to my problems. All right. And then that's when you can segue into pricing. Okay. So example of this is we offer X and guarantee X. And because we're so confident in our ability to deliver results, the cost of working with us is X. Okay. How does this sound to you? And just be quiet. All right. So it's really, really important when you communicate your pricing, you just learn to just sit back, be confident, and just be silent. Right. Don't get awkward during the silence. I know that some people get eerie about that. Don't worry about it. Just be silent after you share your pricing and after you basically say how does that sound? Okay. Very, very simple. From there, handle objections accordingly. Like I had mentioned, there are situations where some objections are obviously viable, but most of the time people are going to have objections that aren't even objections. Okay. And we have those objection handling skills in the discovery call script and the strategy call script sections as well too, to actually help you handle some of those objections. Okay. So at a maximum, you should be spending 10 to 15 minutes on the document, breaking these things down. You have complete control once you open this document. So you control how efficiently and effective this goes. All right. You don't want to make these calls over an hour long because, you're typically only asking for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes of the person's time. So just make sure you're as efficient as possible and getting the information that you need, that you can accurately just identify where the current situation of that business is. So then you can use that information as leverage in what you're walking through in this document. Okay. So don't drag the time on. All right. So let's actually walk through what this closing document looks like. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, so if you actually come here, one moment, sharing this tab to Loom. Okay, there we go. So if you come to this document, basically right here, you can see I've kind of filled this in already for you just to give you some examples. But basically at the top is where you're going to be writing the client's notes, right? Or the lead's notes. So you're going to be typing out notes all here throughout the whole meeting, right? Current challenges, blah, 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 blah. And then some of the questions that you already have prepared in your discovery call script, I've basically built this out for you. So all you have to do is input this information. It's a little bit more of a pretty way than just taking jot notes. And it's just going to make it a little bit easier for you to find this information when you're actually walking through information down here. So a good example of this is let's say, what is your average click-through rate on your campaigns? All you have to do is put 0.75%. And you come down here, this is the example that we use. So then here you would say, okay, so right now, based off of the current data that you've given me, we've identified that your current click-through rate is 0.75%. Okay, so you come down here and you say, listen, your current click-through rate is 0.75%, which is clearly a big bottleneck in your business. All right, it's probably because you either have bad ad creatives or you have poor copywriting. Okay, maybe it's a mixture of the both. It could also be poor targeting in your actual ad sets as well too, which we can take a look at. But the fact of the matter is if we took you from a 0.75% click-through rate, which is really, really low, and we at least just doubled it to a 1.5%, which is more of a standard and hygiene standard to be aiming for, we would double your traffic to your website from ads, and we wouldn't even need to spend any more money on ad spend. We wouldn't even need to even touch your ad spend, and we'd be doubling your traffic. Now imagine if we doubled your click-through rate and we doubled the ad spend. You'd be getting so much more traffic, quadruple the traffic than you're currently seeing right now. Okay. So that's the way that you have to communicate it to clients. Now, the click-through rate is just one example, right? Maybe again, you work with a client that, they're, their profit margins are really, really low, right? So maybe their profit margins are really low. Maybe you can break down to them that if you were to create some sort of offer that improved the average order value, that their margins could at least remain the same, but the average order value is going up, increasing, the value of basically like that purchase, right? So it's just free margin, free profit for that business, right? So you have to be willing to communicate this. So it's really important that you know the ins and the outs of the businesses that you're working with, because again, if you don't know the ins and outs of the businesses that you're working with and you're not well adversed in your niche, it's going to be really difficult for you to actually communicate this to these leads, right? Now below is what you're going to walk through afterwards. Okay. So this is an example of our agency, basically how we would walk through ours. So, our partnership responsibilities, we would tell them, our done for you responsibilities would include, helping you, rehabilitate your offer, right? So that's what's actually going to like drive a lot of incentive for customers to come over to your website and actually purchase. We'll help you with your UGC creator sourcing. So we'll find the UGC creators for you, and we will provide those UGC creators with storyboards so that they can film highly engaging content for our video editor who is in-house, for him to be able to edit it. Okay. So video and image editing, it's all included. And then on top of that, of course, what's actually going to drive traffic and drive results is going to be the paid ads management. Okay. And we offer all these platforms. We have expert media buyers and a CMO who manages all of our media buyers, and they are in every single one of these categories. Okay. Now, besides just what we do for you directly, we also know that there are other variables that are out of our control, but we want to be able to provide you some guidance and strategy so that you're able to navigate through that yourself and, enable your team to actually navigate that as well too. So that would basically include providing you with a customer avatar, sort of research and strategy so that you really know your audience as deeply as possible. Even things you may not know about them now, you will find out later through the research we provide. And then we will actually provide you with a website conversion rate audit. Okay. That website CRO audit is a checklist. We'll provide you with that audit so that you know the adjustments that you should make to your website in order for it to be a really good converting website. Okay. The better your website converts, the more purchases that you're going to receive on the same amount of traffic coming into your website right now. Okay. And then we also have social media brand growth and strategy. Okay. It's really important that you focus on your branding as a long-term play, and you're focusing on adding value through short form content, long form content, and, through still images and things like that across all of your social media platforms that it makes sense for you to be on based on where your audience is. Okay. So we walk through that. And then last thing is we help you, navigate the email marketing space as well too. What campaigns, what flows, what sequences that you should be setting up, your SMS campaigns, everything there. So we provide you all the strategy around here. And then how I'll communicate it is I'll say, listen, of course, our team and our firm, we have the done for you responsibilities that we will personally manage, but we want to act as your complete in-house CMO with all the other areas that we know are going to add an extreme amount of value to you. Okay. So we want you to feel like you are never alone navigating any area of your marketing department. Okay. Whether it's things that we can actually do for you, or if it's in areas that we can actually provide consulting and strategy on. Okay. And that's how we communicate it. That is basically why our agency is so successful at signing higher priced clients nowadays, is because we are providing a done for you service alongside a done with you service. Okay. So there's a service we're directly providing, and then there's the consulting and strategy side. And that's because our agency is more so transitioning right now into a growth partner with these brands, because these are brands that we can partner for, minimum 12-month contracts. We can sign them on larger setup fees, larger retainers, and larger revenue share performance fee models. Okay. And it's not just about the money. It's about mainly the retention and being able to actually deliver good quality results, right? Typically, if you're an agency and you're working on a 3-month basis, you need to be putting in a lot of work to be getting them results. So we're framing ourselves as a growth partner so that we can actually be able to be there for a longer period of time and work with them on a lot of different areas inside of their marketing department. Okay. But that's just an example of how we utilize the Google Doc close. So again, this is a framework. You can use it to the best of your abilities. You can change it, adjust it, make it look pretty. My best advice to you is just to keep it as simple as possible. Okay. This is meant to be a very simple procedure for you so that it's easy for you to pull up and walk through with that lead on a Zoom call for maximum 15 minutes max. And once you clearly lay out everything in a logical way to that lead so that it's a no-brainer for them to work with you, you can be able to close that client in a one call close. It's going to save you an abundance of time. I mean, I know for myself included, I used to have to jump onto like 40 to 50 calls with discovery calls and strategy calls every single month, sometimes even more than that because we had a third call sometimes. It was just a nightmare, right? Like you're meeting with 20 clients, but you're meeting with them 3 times a month. It's like 60 meetings. It's ridiculous, okay? So the goal with this is to enable you to reduce the amount of meetings and time exchange for you to be on these calls, okay? Totally understand that with some of these bigger clients, you're going to have to meet with them more than once. But if you can close a few of them on a one call close, it's going to save you an abundance of time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? So action steps for today. Customize your Word doc template. Utilize this plug and play, obviously. You're going to want to, align it to the questions that you need to be asking and things like that. And then integrate, your discovery call script and your closing doc together, okay? So figure out how you can segue from your script into the Google Doc. Like I said, the best thing you can do is have both your script for discovery calls and this Word doc open. And then before you start taking notes, I know we have it written down basically in the discovery call, but just make them aware. Just say, hey, listen, like I'm going to be looking down my computer, just taking notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm just like taking some jot notes on your business, okay? Make them aware of that so that you can take notes and you can feel comfortable doing that. Walk through the call, transition to the Word doc close, make it a no-brainer for them logically, and you're good to go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have got any sort of questions around the Word doc close or the framework or approach, anything like that, drop your questions in the Discord. You can put them in the Get Advice channel, and we will be happy to serve you and help you with all of your questions as a team. And like I always say, the beauty of the community is tons of people are going through the exact same journey and process as you. So I'm sure a lot of community members will be happy to serve you and help you, give you some more advice on how you can, more adequately close these clients using the Word doc close. Okay? So hope you guys enjoy this module, and I will see you guys in the next one.